Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to the Caliph Podcast. I'm Karusali and this is episode 25. My guest today is Nizar Shariff, the founder of Free Food for All. Free Food for All is a registered charity in Singapore that serves the less privileged of all race and religions, emphasizing especially to the elderly, disabled, and financially distressed. They serve the nutritional needs of individual families and provide empowerment campaigns. We're here to talk about your background, journey building free food for all, impact on giving, and more. Mr. Nizar, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Caliph Podcast.
Welcome, salam, Khairul. Thank you for having me here.
Alhamdulillah. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. So before we dive into the question, maybe you can share a bit to the audience, a bit about your background. Who are you and what do you do? Just maybe a brief of that.
Okay, sure. I'm a male Singaporean. I'm 50 years old this year, going to be 50, inshallah. And my career, I had two major careers. One was as an engineer working for my dad's company. And then I ran a shipping company that specializes in bulk chartering. So my career was from 1992. I was doing the work in the factory till about 2000. And then from then on 2000 to 2014, running my shipping business. And in 2015, I decided to give it up and focus my efforts on building FFA. At that point of time, I felt that it was a good organization to champion because of at that point the current needs then, and it still is a good organization to champion. Alhamdulillah, just that things change. As they say, the only constant thing in life is change. And we hope we can change for the better and always be there in support of our community, inshallah.
Right. Okay. So I want to go all the way back when you said that you were an engineer and you work for you have your own shipping business, right? So maybe you can share with me or with us how was life like back then and more about your work.
Well, I had two parts of my life. I was very gifted and blessed that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I never felt what it's like to be poor. I never felt what it's like to be hungry. Always had the clothes, always had the toys. And that's how my childhood was.
Yeah.
So my father was a businessman, and by the time I joined him in 1992, I was 22 years old, and he was really on top of his game.
Right.
He was an entrepreneur of the year in 1992, and he was featured in many articles. So when I joined him, of course, being a typical Indian Muslim, he will ensure that the first thing I do was learn how to wash the drains and make sure that the factory was clean. And it was a good start. I prepared myself to learn the very basics. We had a large house in Frankel. We had a swimming pool. We had several properties. Yes, and at that point of time, I got married, and I think my first two kids they were like swimming in the backyard. They had a wonderful childhood, I guess. But what happened? We were hit by the 97-98 recession. And we were actually focused from doing our factory, which is zinc and aluminum products. And when we shifted into shipping, the shift was because we felt, or my dad felt that it was a good opportunity to invest. But sadly, the shipping assets or chattels, we call it, they do not have whole much value. And within a couple of years, we lost a lot of money. And so I think by 97, when we were hit, by end of 99, we had to sell off all the properties. And yeah, we were left with nothing. And the me being the eldest in the family had to also be a guarantor for my father's business. And it hit us badly, so we lost everything. But that couple of years doing shipping has actually taught me a lot. Very expensive textbooks about how it's like to be having a situation where you kept on being getting hit from piracy, from people stealing the goods, from the ship overturning. So at that, I felt that the experience learned over that several years was really, it was good. I was young, otherwise I don't think I can take it. But Alhamdulillah, even after we had nothing, we had to rebuild back, and that's where I think I rebuilt back a smaller factory for my dad in Pontian, Johor. And when younger brother came of age, we asked him to help my dad out in Johor. So I shifted and came back to Singapore to try something back. So I used the knowledge that I had in shipping, how I would say my very expensive textbooks to start opening up a company. And before that, I worked with one company, and I tested my capabilities. Alhamdulillah, I kind of knew what I needed to do, what were the potential pitfalls. I think that was the biggest asset I could bring to the company. In the very first week, I saved the company about $182,000. They were actually being sued, and actually I had a meeting and talked to them, and we counter proposed, and he went off without having to pay anything. So the boss then just looked at me and said, "You saved me $180,000." And as a gift, he gave me $5,000. He said, "Here's $5,000. I just worked because on the basis that I thought I could bring something." And so that gave me the confidence, and it prompted me to do more on what I call, I approach companies that did not have much experience in shipping, and I would work with them on the basis where you don't have to pay me anything until you save something, and then from there you can decide, because I needed to build some form of credibility. And that worked. I had very good support from owners, from Indonesian charterers. And then I think in 2005, I set up my own company. It was called Zalco Maritime. The original company, which was Zalco Marine, it's actually a name of my mom's name, Zaliha, and we put the co there. So it was Zaliha's company. And so I started back. And I did the shipping work I was good at. I was doing logs, cement, clinkers, and dirty cargoes. And finally, all the way up to sand, iron ore, coal. And so from 2011 to 2014, I was doing majority coal. And I got to know people who were trading the coal, people who were buying. That's one advantage of being in the shipping line. You kind of know. So in 2014, we realized that, or I realized that had made some good profits, and I wanted to take 3 months off by not taking any more ships, and just wanted to give back to society. That was sometime around September, October in 2014. From there, I started going around and to see what kind of charity that I could work with, that I could use the resources I have to help. And I was looking for smaller charities that were not registered, so I could help them, to
Yep.
be able to get out from where they were. And I did. I worked in several organizations, and some are stable, some are not. And I learned a couple of things. I learned that in order for you to be credible and trustworthy, you must be very transparent. So there were some small bodies that were saying, "You give me the money and I'll spend it and I'll give you a report." But actually, what happened at the back end, I saw things which I could never unsee, lah. And it was very disappointing. And I thought that it was only for one particular thing, one particular, uh, uh, you know, uh, organization. But two of them proved to do the same thing.
Wow.
So I told myself, that they were trying to do groceries, and I could see some of the recipients taking the groceries, going to their friends, exchanging for cigarettes, and so I felt that
Mm.
groceries and thing was something they barter traded. They could say they needed it, but are we really giving them what they really need? So at that point of time, I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we are able to just give them food, you know, like cooked food, like biryani, nasi lemak, and then they could eat and then enjoy a meal, and that's it. At that point of time, it was just give food. I didn't have concerns about how I was going to make it sustainable. It was just me using my own resources and
Mm.
give. On November 4th, I started the idea of the concept of free food for all,
Yeah.
uh, because we said that we wanted it to be for everyone, but at the same time, because of the capabilities, we hope that it would go to people in need.
Yep.
And so we had a tie-up with Masjid Darul Aman that we would give nasi lemak sets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we'll run this for a couple of months to see how the response. So that was sometime in November. And initially, the idea was we would pay for the ingredients and they would cook. It didn't happen.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and I negotiated a price. At that point, I felt that the price was reasonable, and we supplied lah. We supplied, and it was given in the days at the mosque. But after a few weeks we were there, I just didn't feel like it was really going to the right places.
Mm-hmm.
Purely because like I said, it was for free food for all,
Yeah.
but maybe 80 to 90% of the food that was collected were by the mosque congregants. And I wanted it to grow more than that. I wanted it to be
Mm.
block 1 and 2, which is about 5 to 7 minutes walk away. I wanted it to be felt to other races, so they could actually enjoy the fact that it was a Muslim initiative. But several things happened, and I've never really said it out loud or
Mm.
really large scale like yours. But essentially, we had one situation where I saw an old Chinese auntie coming into the mosque, and then she did not know how to take off her slippers, typically, and then
Yep. Yep.
instead of feeding her to where the food is, they scolded her, and they just told her that you can't walk here, you can't put on shoes. And I think the expression I saw on her face was of fear. It
Mm.
hurt me a lot. It really upsetted me that that would happen. And there was another time where I think a female volunteer was trying to distribute some of the packets to, I think, some male congregants there. And one of them stood up and shouted, "Move away, we are guys here," or something. Then I just further disappointed that, that there was this, in order to justify their means, they had to do a lot of screaming and shouting. So it didn't really sit well on me.
Mm.
The last straw came when, at the back of the gate, they were actually the people from block 1 and 2 who has now by now know that there was free makan, who came, and then they would have their hands on the gate, on the metal railing, and unable to enter. I guess because that particular door was not open, they had to make a big long road. And if I still see this in my head right now, and I wish I had taken a picture, then I would have put it on Life magazine.
Yeah.
It was food on the table. The poor was at the railing, at the fence, and several of the hands that were rushing to take the food were filled with gold bangles. You know, the hands that were touching the food and grabbing for those bags of food were
Yeah.
filled with gold bangles. Yet the poor was looking, and I told myself, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
So I went, and by the time December came, I already talked to other places, and someone advised me, let's do something at McPherson. And we did. We started a 1 year campaign where every Wednesday we would give. And it lasted 1 year. Every Wednesday,
Mm.
and sometimes we give this dish, that dish. And till today, it was not much. It was like maybe 200, 250 packets. It consisted of a makan, a dessert, and a drink. Sometimes the dessert would be chocolate roll or
Yeah.
something. I wouldn't say it's the healthiest of meals, but it gave people a sense of something to look forward to that's not their typical uh,
Yeah.
porridge or suun, soupy kind of thing. And that went well. Again, I realized that uh, by the time February came and March came, and I said, "Wow, I've given quite a lot. And where do I go now? Do I go back to what I was doing?" No, I just wanted to continue. In order to continue means like I needed to find a sustainable way of doing it.
Correct.
Uh, Charity, and why? Because I wanted to be very transparent. I wanted people to know where the money is going, how
Yeah.
much. I don't like the idea of people collecting the money and they use this statement: if you give, don't doubt. If you doubt, don't give. So while I understand where the statement come from, but I think it's a duty that we have to do to be very transparent. We have to be very
Yep.
effective. If I take your $10 and end up buying only two oranges, what's the point? If I
Yeah.
take $10, I must be able to negotiate to maybe 2.5 or 3 packets of biryani to be able
Mm.
to do it. That's what we are here for.
Yes.
And so we started the charity. And, we put a lot of things behind us. And at that point of time, 2015, 2016, it was two things was on my mind. How do I sustain? And how do we make sure that we have enough uh, support so that we don't need to tell the machi I don't have money. And so all the while, all through the years, I remember one day in 2016, that was in March, when we really left only a few $100. And I just really don't know where am I going to channel the support so that I can continue, because we were doing easily 10 to 15,000 meals a month.
Wow.
And I mean, I pay the kitchen, I get a very cheap price for it, but it's still a cost, you see.
Yes. Yes.
Then one thing led to another, we get more support here, more people got to know about it. And Alhamdulillah, after maybe total 5, 6 years, we are, we are, I won't say we have sustainable plans,
Mm.
but doing much better. It's just that we have grown to a larger extent. What's the Malay word? Call it besar periuk, besar kerak. So, so I think we started on a footing where we wanted to feed all. I wish I could still do that, but we are limited by resources, and there's so much to give.
Mm.
So many things happen along the way, the milestones, which are, I mean, if I can remember, I'll tell you. I should have prepared that in advance.
No worries.
A lot of things which we did, a lot of things we don't do now, and a lot of things I think we did more with regards to the empowerment. So
Mm.
I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah. You did. You did. You did. Wow! What a journey. Okay, so um, I wanted to ask you, you when you entered your dad's company, right, your factory, right, didn't you want to have did you have your own goals or fixed career that what you want to become, or like didn't you have that, or you were just influenced by your dad that okay, come to work for me and stuff?
Mm. No, when I worked for my dad, I was only concerned about um, sustaining the company. Like
Mm,
I felt that the way he was doing things was not like how I would do it. And of course, he was still the boss. So I learned, but at the same time, I wish it was differently. Like, for
mm,
example, I believe in getting more orders so that the volume increases. So our fixed operational cost decreases per
yeah,
unit. And I don't believe in like charging small item things. And that I would say I'll give it away so that we build a relationship. But his was a different,
right,
typical,
right,
everything is a price to it. So
yeah.
we had a different ideas.
Mm, 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 mm.
So at his point of time, he was successful. I mean, he made his millions. Um, I wouldn't say I made my millions in that way, but yeah, essentially, at that point of time, I just wanted to survive. Um, in 1994, at that point of time, my salary was only $800. So it was still pretty low then, but
The salary that you work for your dad for, right?
it was very low. It was like $800, and to get more was unthinkable lah. I think like
Mm.
at that point in time, if you were telling me like, okay, if I give 1,000 to 1,005, I think I'll be just jumping up and down. Of course, I was staying with him.
All right.
I was staying with him, and I didn't have to pay rent or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that carried on till I was about 32 lah. Then had to, I had to find my own accommodations, and that drove me to want more lah. And
Mm.
I got married. My wife was a staff nurse then, and
Yep.
so we built our lives. We built our lives on um, not much of an income, but we were happy. We never went hungry. Um, there was a point of time where I could go to a shopping center and say, "Hey, I want to buy this, but I don't have enough money to buy it." And there was another point of time where I went to shopping center and stuff was in the thinking back. I feel very sad when I say this. I will go and say, is there anything that I cannot buy? So
Mm.
you see, money has actually changed me because I felt on both parameters. I felt low
Yes.
and I felt high. And I just realized that the high I felt because of having money was not the real high I should have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when I started giving away food and some
Mm.
of the business I saw, now that was the high I was looking for.
Right.
That was something so sweet. Not no Yemeni honey can compare to that sweetness.
Mm.
It's that feeling of breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to lie to get your money. You didn't have to cheat. There was no riba involved. There was no shipping
Mm.
items. And I dare for any of the shipping professionals out there to come and tell me that it's clean. It's never clean.
Yeah.
Also in any of the businesses. So I just refuse to go back. So you see,
Mm.
it was like money changed people. And I from a young age, I I never had the thing, oh, I want to buy a Ferrari. I mean, I could, right? I could have if my dad like loved me more. He said, "Hey, I want to change the car. I want to do it." I mean, he could have given me all that I wanted,
Yeah.
but that was not what I wanted. I was contented. I was happy, and hence when I told you about the $5,000, at that point of time, I was like 32 years old, 31, 32. And that was probably the largest amount of money I've ever had at one time,
Mm.
$5,000. And it was given to me by a guy who I met 2 days ago.
Wow.
Just 2 days
Okay.
ago. Somebody introduced me to him and said, hey, you know what? You need any shipping help? Ask Nizar. So I remembered I went to have Cheng Teng with him at Bedok Corner.
Mm-hmm.
Just for one Bedok Corner, he asked me to come for the meeting and I helped him out. Lillahi ta'ala, I didn't ask for anything. So
Yeah.
that prompted me to feel that I could use my experience to go lah. And after making all the money, I just didn't feel what it's like. I didn't feel it's right. Like when you have money, the first thing you want to do is jewelry, watches,
Yeah.
car.
All the materialistic type items, huh?
And I've had all that, and it didn't give me anything more than one thing more.
Mm.
So thank God my dreams when I was young were just basically surviving.
Right.
Uh, I was happy being the family. I enjoyed taking them out, going to the beach with my siblings. My sisters were still small. So when I was like 20 odd, they will still probably be 4 years, 5 years old. So they were like my kids. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed. I had a different thing. But when we went down, when everything went bust, and that for a couple of years working back up and then coming back, then I realized that the money came very easily. So I'm just giving an example. Like if somebody
Sure.
tells you, hey, it's just $20,000, then you'll be happy. Oh, you at night cannot sleep. You're happy, $20,000 you got. But tomorrow you already felt what it's like to have $20,000. So if somebody gives you another 20, really are not worth my effort lah, or this and that. So it keeps on going till you see $1 million. And then what's after $1 million? And you can trust me lah, once you reach that, you've got paid for $1 million. When somebody wants to pay you 30, 40,000, you tak syok lagi.
Mm-hmm.
See? So
Understand.
I reached that level, then I realized that thank God, um, because I learned from what I think the mistake my father made. In 92, 94, he was having easily, the company was worth millions.
Oh.
We had 2 condos, one semi-D, one factory, one bungalow. But instead of just focusing on the business at hand, he felt he had to diversify,
Okay.
right? So he started doing something which he was don't know anything about,
Mm-hmm.
but felt that money could be the impetus to start something. And that was dead wrong, because we entered into um, a business where you lose millions overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, you lose millions. It's not like open meetables, you lose 30,000, you fed up, you can start again. This is like 30,000 is just basically to buy the paints and the grease to clean the ship. Trust
Wow.
me, that's how bad that is. But still, so I told myself, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to kejarkan the money. I'm not going to want more.
Yeah.
And, it was enough for me. And the sleepless nights were to be able to tell myself, why did I lie this morning? Why did I say I received it when I didn't? Why did I
Yeah.
say this when I did not? And it is something so common in shipping, because you have to. It's a trading ground.
Yeah.
Some people I admire. You see, I admire this businessman. Wow, he's got $1 million, but he had to go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And if he worked hard, if he sweat, you probably clap. But what happens if I tell you that in majority of these deals, he had to be a liar, he had to be a cheat, he had to, he had to basically be unscrupulous. He had to basically screw his own workers and staff. That's not me.
Mm. But was that what you did? You had to do it back then when you.
Um, I did it not on because I didn't want, I only had one staff. I don't want to encourage, so I sub out, I vendorized. That means everything was
Mm.
on vendors who did my
Oh.
crewing, who did my
Yep.
management. So at any point of time, even though we pay higher, we can just say good luck, goodbye, and everything. But in in my eyes, in my opinion, for those businesses to succeed, where people call you the Onassis of Singapore, you're a shipping tycoon, these words,
Yeah.
Onassis Singapore, tycoon, and Malay Muslim community, they cannot be in the same sentence.
Mm.
It's a
Okay.
curse.
Yeah.
In my opinion, people can differ with me,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
but it's a curse because this at every moment I see cheating and lying. Like typically, for example, you want to supply something. Let's say you want to supply food, right? And the captain or the one buying the food will say, "What's the price? Okay, this and that." And he will tell me, "Okay, I'm supposed to be ordering 1,000 kilo on paper, but you only give 500. And the balance for this 500, I want you to give me in cash." That goes for
Ooh.
the fuel as well. So every single
Yeah.
aspect is cheating and lying. Every single.
Mm.
Like, for
Right.
example, right now, if somebody asks, "Hey, Nizar, what is the cost of a brownie?" I cannot lie and tell him double the amount.
Yeah.
I cannot. So it's either if I don't tell, I say, "I'm sorry, I can't tell you. I mean, I can't lie to you, and I don't want to lie. But it's around this region." Or some,
Mm.
when I can trust, I can just tell them. But in chartering and shipping, you can't.
Yeah. Understand.
And like because the volume is different. Like for example,
Mm.
if you make a profit $1 and you carry 25,000 tons, that's 25,000 US dollars. Every single moment that you are in this, it's all about lying and cheating.
Yeah.
I give you an example. Today, uh, there's something called demurrage in a ship. I hope you don't mind me saying all this
Sure. Sure.
since it's
Sure.
what
Sure. No problem. It's interesting.
demurrage says that should there be bad weather, you are free. Sorry, should there be not be any bad weather, but if there's any delays, you're supposed to pay $8,000. Okay, so I take it from the ship owner from China and agree for $8,000, and I go to my who I'm reselling it to and said, "Look, it's gonna cost you $15,000 a day if anything goes wrong. So you must make sure nothing goes wrong, huh?"
Hmm.
So who does? I mean, everybody don't want to go for it to go wrong except me.
Yeah.
In my heart, I hope something goes wrong,
Yeah. Because you want
right?
to get the money. Yeah.
Because it's a difference of 15 and 8,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
7,000 US dollars per day. And then if you 40 days, 50 days, that's a lot of money. But that's what I do.
Hmm. I
And then,
understand.
I like I said, it's so sad that in this shipping business that they involve families. So if you don't pay,
Wow.
the next thing you know, somebody will be there waiting at your home.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm telling you, you see all these things in the movies.
Okay. Wow. So I've always heard, this kind of stories, not from the original source, but from people talking, in shipping industry, in oil and gas, right? All these gray area stuff where and then hearing from you, I think like it's like what you said, right? It's like shipping and tycoon and Muslim, right? It just doesn't gel.
Well,
Yeah.
some people will disagree, Hairul. Some people who
Mm,
are riding the wave now, they will disagree. But you
mm,
see, those people who I know, good people, they can't stay afloat for too long. It is against Islamic principles. No matter how
yep.
you tell me, there is no way that by agreeing to be involved in a situation where you under table can be Islamic. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But we try all sorts of things. We try to bring Ustad into our organization. We try to do that. I'm
Really?
sorry,
Wow.
but that's what they do. And I just find that how about we stop doing that and start repairing our relationship with God?
Yeah.
That means doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
That means not taking too much loan so that you don't have to be involved in a lot of riba.
Correct.
That means being involved. Like, for example, say this is my price. Then they will start negotiating. Oh, I want on the table this. On the table is wrong. But at the point of time, because you are eager to make the money, you are eager to cover the expenses for your home and everything,
Yeah.
tell yourself no choice. Nanti boleh pergi haji, but not many, some will do it, some don't get the chance. And I fear when I look at my kids, when I look at the thing, at one point of time where I just got to realize this. When I was 27 years old, I think this has got to do a bit more with your further down the questions in your line.
Yeah.
I went to see one alim ulama that was brought to me by my partners, my dad's partners. And I was, at that point of time, very apprehensive. I was not praying regularly. I was naughty. I was not in the state of mood. And I heard the stories about how garang he was, how this and that. And then suddenly when I met him, instead of staying outside, they brought me into his room. The partner sat there. He sat down his bed, put me down on a chair close to him, and started talking nicely to me. No air, smiling in me, jokes with me. And then after one time, I think I also tried to crack a few jokes lah. Dalam Islam ada dinosaur ke tak? That kind of thing. I'll just ask him. And the response was very calm. I remembered the tea. I remembered what he wear, and the smell. And then after my second visit, he told me, and I'm going to remember this, it makes my bulu roma naik until today. He said, "Ente kasih makan orang. Hatta Islam bukan Islam, hatta miskin, hatta kaya." So I was 27 years old. And at 27, apa I nak? I belum kena the effects of the shipping yet. Belum nak dekat. We had a few ships, we were riding high. I remembered we had an offer to sell the ship for $2.5 million. I think kita bought, but then kita repair about 1.4, 1.6. But we were tempted. That same cargo which took us from Thailand to Brazil gave us a freight of 1.4 million. So the typical businessman in us says, ambil ni freight dulu, lepas tu boleh jual lah.
Correct.
Kuasa Tuhan, we took the freight sampai Brazil, market crash. That the value of that 2.5 million became 700,000 only scrap value. That was how bad shipping is.
Wow.
You can be overnight millionaire, you can be a pauper the next day. So we were struggling. Then we struggle. One thing led to another, habis. And Habib, the Ustaz said, ada harga bagus jual, tapi kita degil. Padahal we got the advice. We came there to ask for advice. Ini kadang-kadang, I think me and my other partner should slap ourselves in the face. Because we came there looking for advice. The Ustaz says, the ulama says, dapat harga baik jual. Dapat harga baik. Dapat ada untung. Tapi instead of jual, kita follow that greed.
Yep.
Angkat satu trick dulu lah. 1.4 million, lepas tu boleh jual. So Allah Ta'ala has really taught me lessons, From then on, it was one hit to after another. The people who were my friends, who were my vendors, when we could not pay them their supplies only for a measly $10,000, dia hantar gangster kat rumah I, ambil botol, campak. Just imagine what we had to go through.
Yeah.
Your so-called friends come and tell you that, say, hey, your car, come and take over your car. So I just felt that this is not our friends, this is not this thing. And life taught me, I tak nak hutang orang. And I felt that the business has to be clean. And my opinion, again, other people might disagree.
Sure.
Few of you champion in shipping there, I might disagree with me. My feeling is shipping, unless there has been a drastic change in how we do it, it is not the right way to do things. We cannot avoid, like typical, every time you go to a purchaser, hey, I want to order 2,000 pieces of this, how much? $55. Okay, you put 57, $2 will cover me. Because you have no choice. If not, the order will be going to someone else. Okay, can. But that's bribery.
Yeah, correct.
That is not only commercially wrong, it is also haram.
Yes.
But we don't see that, you see. So our eyes look at the fact that aku punya Mercedes macam nak bayar ni installment, you know, and I just said no, that it had to change. And it was a culture shock. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a culture shock, you know, because when I started not working, 3 bulan okay, 5 bulan okay, 6 bulan, then I think my family started look at me, and my wife was saying that, oh, this year tak ada Rolex. This year tak ada Rolex. This year tak ada this. Then I found that we were not the same people as we were before. And if she sees this, she's gonna kill me. But we were not the same people, because when we were young and we were in love and trying to make a family, I used to remember that we would just get 1 or 2 epok-epok and a packet of tea and be able to sit down and just enjoy talking and everything, right?
Yeah.
Now boleh. Now kalau tak ada pergi restoran pakai fork and spoon semua, dah tak jadi ni.
Correct.
So now dulu I remember the first watch I buy was Guess. Itu jam maybe 30 years old Guess. Okay lah, 100 plus. It's a lot of money then. Now you try and buy anything less than tech fuel. But that's what suddenly happened, you know. I realized that the respect for me went down. And it is not because I could not afford it. It's just that, why do you need to have so many Rolexes?
Yeah.
And I pun terbabit. I beli cincin, beli diamond, kono nak invest lah. Tapi kita takut nak keluar. Kita park dalam safe. Nobody sees it. I don't understand why the need for it.
Right.
Padahal it can be used to help others.
Correct.
It can be used, you see, like for me now at this stage of my life, Ya Allah, please protect me, please preserve me. If I have $5,000 to spare, the human instinct will be, oh, I need to keep it for my medical bills, for this, for that, you know. But for me, is maybe this 5,000 can help someone out of utang. For example, somebody who utang along 4,000, the kena interest become $5,000.
Correct.
If I give them this and said, now you pay off, you pay me whenever you can. Itu dah menyenangkan orang tu.
True.
Kita dah menyenangkan dia riba, and we have faith Allah will bayar us lah.
Correct.
But if I were to do that, my wife will say, you're crazy, or whoever will say, my mother also will say, you're crazy. What are you doing? How many people can you support?
Yeah.
Then it's not about how many people I can support, it's what I do to support myself. That faith that I have must be for better things. It cannot be just myself. And that's why sometimes you see, again, my wife shouldn't hear me saying this, but they just don't understand.
Yeah.
They just don't understand. You say, why is it that you enjoy kasih orang makan? Why is it that bila Friday you tanya, nak makan rawon ke, nak makan pariaman? Why is it? You know, but my duit bulan pula you lambat. Then I cakap there, you know, you're right. Actually, you're right. If I lambat, please forgive me and just remind me. But, you know, can you tell me if there's anything kurang dalam the house? If you tell me there's anything kurang in what I've given or whatever, please let me know. I will rectify it. Something is more on being forgetful. There's nothing wrong, but it's a human instinct. Why do you want to give people? So I said, why not? So we come to that conclusion is we have to agree to disagree. She may not understand where I'm coming from, and I have to understand where she's coming from.
Yes, correct.
But I always constantly remind her, at one point of time, you were not driving. You did not have a degree. Now you're going for your master's. Where will this lead to? If this leads you to be having more money, good. But will it lead you to be a better human being? That's ultimately our goal.
Yes.
You see? And it doesn't matter, like, for example, my 18-year-old son, when we discuss about this, and he, of course, he's thinking 18-year-old, you know, girls, materialistic thing. But I tell him, ultimately, right now, you know that one day death will definitely come for us. And it is not your prayers that I mean, they are important, but it is not your prayers, your tarawih, your wirid that built upon, is how you take care of Allah's creations. And this is very important. um, I don't know whether I use the word correctly, but humanity before religiosity, I kind of believe in that concept. And he understands it. He says, yeah, he has to be able to put some seeds right now so that he may develop into something better. And it's vital for the kids now. Yeah. I'm sorry again, I've already expanded the question. And,
No
you know,
worries,
just
no
that.
worries. I think this is very wow, it's very inspirational. Whew. I mean, so is your wife still working a nurse until today? Is she
Yeah,
still
yeah.
working?
She's a nursing manager. I think they call it a nurse clinician now.
Mm.
So she's in the emergency department of KK. If she's hearing it, hi Ansa. I know you're going to be angry at me for saying all these things, but yeah, I just think it's important to know that
Yep, yep.
we cannot be apart from our family. We are just one unit. And
Correct.
sometimes, if I were to move forward, if there is support, you move forward strongly. But if there's no
Mm.
support, it's like weights on your ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think family needs to know where we're coming from, where we're going.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. Okay, so
yeah.
let's talk about Free Food for All. You
Mm.
kind of share at the start how you started, right? You took a break from your shipping business, and you went out and you try to see what other organizations are doing, and then you wanted to have this sustainable model, right? That you plan to do. So I heard that at the start you kind of like used your own money first, right? And how did and then you stop your shipping company, and then you invested all in this Free Food for All, right? So how did you manage to financially sustain yourself throughout?
Well, like I said, I mean, bila I cakap I use my money, memang I use my money. But at that point of time, my finances were quite healthy.
Mm,
Um, I just to share, not bukan nak sombong or
yep,
whatever,
yep.
but I watched the movie Transporter and I fell in love with the car A8 Audi, and I told myself, no, I want to buy, and I got one. You know,
Yep.
then I was kind of known for driving a Pajero back in the old days
Mm,
when I was doing food driving, and I bought a Pajero as well. So kita tak pernah macam rabak the finances lah,
okay.
but it's just that the incoming income was slowly coming in, because even though I stopped the business, there were previous utang or previous contracts that took some time to.
Okay.
It didn't end immediately, maybe about 6 to 9 months. Then after that, completely finished. And so what happened was I made a buku 555 lah, they call it, where I would calculate the amount of money that I had used from the time I started it, and all the way till maybe sometime mid-February or early March. So then I invested into the company. I pumped in money because in order to start the charity, there were payments made to the lawyers. It wasn't cheap. Lawyers, accountants, and everything. So just to be able to think, I mean, the total package was close to $10,000. And so that all came from me. And then I packed in some money just so that we had enough to run operations. And then slowly donations came in. And then when we
Mm,
were online platforms, it came better. So the first stretch was rabak.
yeah.
Like I said, the first stretch rabak. I think from that 2015 sampai 2016, memang kais pagi makan pagi. Yeah, it was really distinct. And I think that only maybe this is 2020, 2019. I think maybe in 2018 lepas Ramadan, then we slowly had a buffer lah.
Mm,
Any that what I had actually put aside. And I invested it into another company, the food company, the one that was actually supposed to be making money for Food for Change lah. And Food for Change is what I do for overseas missions, because
Okay.
The government says that for free food for all, you're going to go IPC. We cannot have you going around disaster zones showing your branding. So what we did, we split Food for Change was doing humanitarian work overseas, and Free
Mm.
Food for All was. But every time when I go wherever in Bangladesh, in Gaza, or any countries, we always have Free Food for All in support of. Sorry, Food for Change in support of Free Food for All. Can you see my
Yep.
T-shirt?
Yes.
So they kind of like think, oh, it's what is FFA, and then FFA is the one that we show what we do in Singapore now.
Yeah.
But the majority of the overseas work is more on food aid and water projects.
Mm.
I just don't feel like we should just limit ourselves to Singapore,
Correct.
and
That's good. No.
feel that food being everybody needs it. Mana ada manusia ke animals yang tak perlu makanan,
Yeah.
and we can create some kind of models where we can actually fund them, or they can do semi-funding for themselves. We have a lot of people coming forward and
Mm.
said, I'm a charity in Uganda, and we don't have this, we don't have that. And because I don't have the resources to check on them, I just have to everything do by paperwork, by Zoom, by calls. And we do work with some of them, not all,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
more established that are willing to show cards. Yeah.
Sometimes I think people will wonder, right? I think those more maybe ignorant people, right? They were kind of like ask, right? Is there really poor people in Singapore, or are there really, this question when they ask, like, oh, even if they say they wanna give or they wanna help, right? Then they've been around, they've been to the developing countries, their situation are more worse, right? And then they
Mm.
had this thinking like, really, is there Singapore really that is really in need? I'm sure overseas that.
Yeah.
How do you address that?
Well, there must be a difference between what they call the need means absolute poverty. Absolute poverty means you can see them on the streets, they beg for food and everything. There's a very minimal amount of people there. Most of the time when they do that, they could be mentally unsound, there's some
Yeah.
ailment, they don't know where to get help, or they're not getting help. Very little in Singapore. But here what we do is we address urban poverty. Urban poverty is more of you living in concrete areas where small pigeonholes, barely enough to survive, but survivable compared to other countries. And the poverty you're looking at is not being able to meet your monthly needs. Like
Mm.
there must be some kind of line drawn that justifies what does one person need. I think the latest study, Ya Allah, forgive me if I am wrong and I cannot quote the source. If I'm not mistaken, it says that for an elderly to live in Singapore, they need a minimum of 1,200 or 1,300, somewhere around there per person
Yeah.
to be able to survive. But those elderlies that are collecting cardboard and everything that you see, they are not getting that amount.
Yeah.
Yet they're surviving. Are we saying that the government is taking care of them? Well, to a certain extent, right? But the policy so far has been more on supporting. Supporting means like, let me help you so that you don't drown. So the water is here. So you
Mm.
don't drown, but you're always here.
Mm.
And then you expected to swim to get out of the trouble, but the swim can be too far. So my question is, why are we not helping all, if not some of them, so that they can actually thrive instead of just survive?
Mm.
The chances of people thriving is so that they can get out easily,
Yes.
like quicksand, and then they can help their own families out or something like that. But these are questions of policies, and this is something has to be discussed in Parliament.
Yeah.
Um, the government has been asking people on the ground what to do, what can be helped,
Yep.
and of course, there's also the issue of accountability.
Yeah.
There has to be some check and balances. Like for example, if your salary is 2,000, if you have a index per capita per house person is $2,000, and if one person working, $2,000, and have 4 people, it's only $500, then you deserve the help. But what happens if you join 2008 and then your 2008 becomes 5,200 per person, at $520 per person, let's say. So when that happens, it works out to be you're no longer eligible because you have surpassed. But the amount is so little.
Yes.
And if you look at the problems that are encountered, it's because of certain policies. Like, give you an example, I discussed with one old man that day, and like he asked for help in the food. So I said, sure, no problem. Baru casual, saya pakcik dapat berapa? Dia bilang saya every month get about 400 plus from my CPF. But I live with my wife in a one-room rental flat, and the flat is like $50. Aku dapat subsidize, not too bad lah. But he said, I'm very stressed because I have to pay the poly money. I said, aren't you on CHARS or something like that? He said, my MediSave don't cover. And every time when I go there, when I didn't pay, the nurses ask me to pay money, So I said, okay. Is it a lot? He said that whatever he can afford. I said, okay. But I was shocked to find out that he had 70,000 in his MediSave account. And he's already 76 years old. So the policy states that he can only spend X amount. So that's a policy decision. And kita make so much noise, but no point, because it's a policy, it's the law. Unless our MPs do bring this up and discuss it and maybe change, okay, somebody above 75, maybe they can withdraw 10% or something like that, right? So the betterment of the society here, because of urban poverty, is not like what we have in India or in other places. This, it can be addressed, it can be helped if people come together. People come together in the sense that the community don't always say it's the government's responsibility to take care of their people. They should move away from that mindset.
Right.
But the government rather said, let me bring in the community to help. So in terms of education, in terms of hospitalization and medical, it's more of the government issue. But in terms of makan, in terms of support, that should be more the public. The public should have a more positive approach, proactive approach in doing that. So to answer your question specifically, if somebody who is saying that ada ke betul ke, memang ada, without a doubt. But if your job is to go down and check, betul ke dia ni, kenapa dia punya TV lagi dia besar daripada aku? Dia ada karaoke, then it's not right anymore. Who are we to judge?
Correct.
Orang tu dapat free ke, cucu dia dah kasih free ke?
True. Very true.
Doesn't mean it, but they judge.
That's
why one of the things I stopped doing is when people ask me, boleh tak saya kenal yang awak punya beneficiary? Until today, I said tak boleh. You nak, you either go through. If you don't trust, you find your own people on Facebook, because 9 out of 10 of them will definitely, tapi Cik Nizar, saya pergi rumah dia, dia minta saya ni, minta saya tu, tapi saya tengok ada daging tau rumah dia. Kalau susah tak ada daging kan?
Yelah, there's always this doubt lah.
There's this doubt, and I find that it's not our place.
Right.
Our place is we have to be answerable for some form of accountability, but after that we have to do a little bit more tawakal and lain-lain.
Yes. And
whoever we serve, whether we give them food worth $100 or $150, that means they can save that $100 to $150 to do something
for other
else.
things. Yes.
Maybe they can save to top up and talk to their grandchildren. Maybe they can do this. They can take a few more Grab rides to the clinic. It's just that. But we cannot definitely be the ones who start judging and doubting.
Correct.
In fact, maybe from the Islamic approach, again, I'm very tak kurang agama when it comes to this, but I've heard of stories like the 3 people who were given donations. I think it was a hadith, I'm not sure, but he said that the first was given to a prostitute, and then it was given to a thief, and then to a rich man. The rich man really caught me by surprise, because the rich man receiving the donations, he said if he can receive Why is he not giving when he has enough? So you see, to inculcate that thought in our community, if one person can spread to 10 to 100, don't you think we'll have a better society if we are worried about our neighbors? Even if it starts once a month, I give a bag of apples to my neighbors, even once a month. Number one, you build a relationship. You just, instead of saying like that, you get to know him, get to know his family. When you are strong with your neighbors, your whole building strong, right? Correct?
Correct.
Here, we are living in pigeonholes. We have lost that kampung feeling.
Correct.
And neighbor pun tak kenal, bawah tak kenal. So what do? We need something to break the ice, right? So what have we been famous for? We know kita masak, kita kasih orang makan, and if they are not Buddhist and we give non-beef, they are happy. So I think this spirit can start.
Yes.
Otherwise, I see, honestly, I'm sorry to use this platform. They are just like macam, oh, I nak cari ni anak yatim. Sometimes they come and tell me, I want to give zakat, but only anak yatim. And I said to them, anak yatim is not one of the golongan asnaf. Betul ke? Shouldn't it be there? I said, kalau anak yatim golongan asnaf zakat recipient, then they only get once a year lah. The rest of the year, tak dapat ke?
Yeah.
You see, so the mindset, the change.
Yeah.
And we do have people who were former beneficiaries who will message me and donate tau. Dah donate 2 kali. Cik Nizar, you tak ingat I siapa Saya minta maaf lah, terlalu banyak. You pernah tolong I kat blok 540 kat Bedok. Ingat tak? This and that. They say, oh, Alhamdulillah. Sekarang I dah better. I dah married. I dah kasih this. So I nak kasih balik. So isn't that Alhamdulillah?
Wow. MashaAllah. Yeah.
Isn't that Alhamdulillah? So you know that ripple effect of doing something good, you never know.
Yeah.
Whether you don't have money, you can volunteer. Tak volunteer, spread the good word. Even doakan pun kita terima lah. You know, I find that, So, I think FFA really needs all the help it can get. But the help we need is not necessarily only money. The help we need is to have some good faith. Good faith means like, you can choose all the charities, which one you want to champion. We need more people to look at what we do and understand. And if they agree to what we do, then have good faith in helping us. Like I said, kalau ada $10-20, by all means, start there. Once a week, I want to do something. I want to do this ke, I want to help send the food ke, atau something. Or just maybe I want to fundraise some of my friends. Even to the simple extent of collecting newspapers, jual karang-guni and dapat, here's $87. I want to donate to you. Even that.
Yeah.
So everyone can do something.
Yep.
It's just that we don't want to be so filthy rich that our KPIs are, oh, I need to have $1 million in my bank account. No. That's not going to happen in my watch. And we have teams, we have directors, we have this, but it is very important that essentially driving FFA must be a community project for the community, by the community.
Yeah.
See, everyone has to have a stake. So it's not an organization, it's more of a revolution. It's more of something, a momentum that you want to carry on. You know? I've told this before. Kalau macam, let's say, for example, where do you see FFA going? I just tell them this. If you hear of Red Cross, what do you think? What do you think of? Or if I hear Red Cross, I think about them doing first aid. I think about them in all the countries doing humanitarian aid. I said, think of FFA as that food aid. We want to strengthen our position in Singapore to the extent that I hope one day that if you are ever in need, and if you call and you are approved the process, subject to approval, we want to be able to feed you within 1 working day. That we give ourselves this timeline. Within 1 working day, we are able to home deliver to you. No need to collect, no need to buy from here and there. Food that you yourself want. Not what you want to give. No. For example, some of them just give bihun, kopi, 3-in-1, baru, kopi. But we ask them, kopi teh boleh minum kan? Oh no, I got diabetic. I pernah sekali and my staff made a mistake. We got some chocolates. We included the chocolates inside the bag now. Biscuit, macam-macam. The guy said, I'm a diabetic. Why you give me chocolate? And I checked back and I asked my staff, did you not ask him? Because there was questions we have to ask. Didn't you see he was diabetic? I said, yes. I forgot that he was a diabetic. And that's why he gave chocolate. I said, if he may want it, but call him.
Yeah.
So we want to ensure that you get items that you want.
Yes.
Macam for example, ada orang cakap tuna ikan tongkol. I don't eat ikan tongkol. But if you kasih 4-5 can tuna, what is he going to do? Kalau dia baik, dia kasih neighbor dia. Kalau tak baik, dia put one corner je, it's a waste.
Yes.
Right? So that's how we have evolved. Now coming to this, we have evolved from just kasih makan cooked food, where there's a chance of orang tu simpan cooked food tu jadi basi. There's a chance where it rosak. There's a chance orang tak ada appetite, tak nak makan.
Correct.
Now we more on ready-to-eat meals.
Yeah.
Meals that you have a choice. Like kita ada nasi ayam, bubur ayam, vegetarian porridge, sambal sotong, garlic fried rice. You dengar garlic fried rice, first time I ingat macam tak sedap, tapi really power. Seriously.
Wow.
You know, vegetarian fried rice, vegetarian biryani. Why? Because there are some who those vegetarian who want. Then there's even chana dal. Yellow dal a bit too much, but chana dal is comfort food. It's like yang dal kacang kuda macam the spices. Itu pun macam protein and it's vegetarian. So we constantly ask, what else do you want? Now, the next batch, kita masak cheng teng dan sweet corn pudding. Sorry, sweet corn dessert. Because ada minta, got no dessert lah. Okay lah, kita bikinkan dessert lah. So, you know, when you lapar tonight, it's time for dinner, you can pick and choose lah. Whatever. And if you have microwave, senang, tak ada microwave, rice cooker atau wok panas, and jalan. And for the last few weeks, maybe a month, we have received the sets meals, which are lagi best. Lagi cantik, menu dia lebih. But that is very expensive lah, and kita harapkan orang home products, yeah. And you know, it's like kita continuously to grow. Like I'm buying hardtack biscuits. People maybe now forget. Maybe by the time you army, semua dah MREs kan. Tak ada biskut hardtack lagi, tak pernah nampak
Yeah.
Biskut hardtack were good for us because we ate with sardine, braised chicken, baked rice, and so I'm bringing that back because it's more has very good digestive things, high calorie, low dense thing, and so I'm bringing certain things back so that it helps our beneficiaries makan tahan lapar longer, higher calorie, healthier. So
Right. Maybe you can share with us a story from the community, right? That has impacted you the most.
Story community that's impacted me the most. I guess if on a good positive vibes is one of my close associates who became a avid volunteer who started with us when she was stealing food at a shopping center, and then joined us and learned a lot. And then, you know, we provided her with some small stipend, and she gained a lot of experience, and you know, also gained a lot of support. And of course, when you have trained them up, you can't hold them for too long at such low pay, so they have to go for something higher. I'm very proud of her in her ability to think for herself, to know how government system works, because she was very much involved in the emails. And I'm also proud of my current IC for Yishun. All of them, I'm proud of all the ICs, but the ICs, some have a little bit more initiative. And this one, her name is Rahima, and she has proven to be an asset where she will take care of our community fridge. She will also
Yeah.
get more people to support by donating to the fridge. So in her block 160 Yishun, we always try to use it as an example because she has brought in volunteers, she has brought in donors, and she has actually got all the residents together,
Wow.
uh, regardless of race, regardless of religion. And she does mini events. I think she has one flea flea market event next week,
Nice.
and it's fun. It's fun. So neighbors who didn't know each other, now they get to know. Of course, not 100% perfect. There'll be bound to be some who are still a bit cranky and don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
involved. But majority there. So you see the residents living in that low income residents,
Yeah.
they don't have to feel like they are low income. They get a lot of support from the food provided. They get a lot of support from the fresh fruits, vegetables, but they also get a lot of support in terms of community building. Like we want to run programs on getting the children to start talking,
Mm-hmm.
maybe get them to be public speakers. So when you catch these young kids at a young age and boost their confidence, tell them that they're
Yep.
good, and then hopefully they will stop them or minimize their decisions to make wrong decisions.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. So this
Nice.
Rima is one of them. I mean, if you have
Nice.
one day to give an interview, I can see she really worked hard, and she really don't take no for an answer.
Your
Yeah.
ICs are they full time staff or are they volunteered?
No, no, they're just volunteers. They are volunteers, but
Wow.
they have to live there. They are
Ah.
volunteers who live there, so they are recipients of the food. It's just that they got an extra job by making sure that uh, the items are delivered properly. Be in
Mm.
charge, um, be the voice for those who needs any extra help.
Yeah. Got it.
Sometimes they say I need this, I need that, and see whether they can get any support. So
You know,
we
sorry. So Free Food for All is known to as in for food aid, right? Like you said, right? So how about those who comes? Are there those who comes to you like for example like the uncle who has problem with the CPF, the 70,000 CPF and can't draw and kind of thing. So what like are there people who come to you and ask for help other than food, and how do you help them?
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, there is, but we try to. I mean, on the food wise or whatever that we know, we can definitely help. But sometimes, like for example, they ask us certain things which we cannot help them, like
Yeah.
HDB, or they say they've been trying. We can only recommend them to
All right.
using our contacts to say that can you please help them. And most of the time, SSO will attend to them. But whether they get the answer that they want, we can't really say lah. Because
Yeah.
you see, for example, if the law states that you're 35 years old, only then can you apply for a flat when you are single. And if you're 28, you can always try, can appeal, but it's always subject to them this thing.
Correct.
So most of the problem applies to housing,
I
housing,
see.
and we just have to refer them to SSO, because I think refer them to
Mm.
HDB also no point. It's
Correct.
just that I think they need structured help, and so most of the time, like those who are in needing other help, like for example, he says he can afford. Sorry, he says he has to buy cooked food because they tak boleh masak every day, so he will have to spend $5. Then I tell him, I'm going to give you the RT and everything, so you don't have to spend now. So you save your
Mm.
$150 a month. I said, then this $150 a month, you can try to do something else. And most of them, they're happy with that. Um, some second timers have always messaged me today, said, hey, I know I'm only supposed to get the food only in August, but my whatever I dah makan habis, boleh tak kasi in the next week?
Mm.
So we try to help wherever we can, and then I always ask them, or we have actually somebody going around and asking for surveys, what food they like, what food they don't like, stuff like that. and as a result, we try to accommodate.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Mm.
Okay. I'm gonna ask a few personal questions
Sure.
towards the end. I mean, you are now suffering from diabetic
Mm.
neuropathy, right? Which affects your nerves. How did you manage that part of your life? Or
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Actually, the diabetic neuropathy comes with my heart disease. I've already had 6 stents already in my heart. Then I've got stage 3 kidney disease, and I'm on water liquid restriction actually. And so the diabetic, I've been a diabetic for 21 years
Oh.
and been insulin for last 18 years. So what happened is that I start losing the feelings in my fingers and my feet, and I have lost the ability to walk on my own for about 2 years now. I went to Perth 2 years ago, 2018 in June, and when I come back, I dah tak berjalan. And initially, I needed tongkat, then from tongkat to walking stick to walking frame and manual wheelchair. And now I'm on electric wheelchair. And about 1.5 months ago, I had a wound on my leg that became infected. And on
Mm.
Hari Raya Day, Sunday, then on Tuesday, I was hospitalized and I stayed there for 3 weeks. And the whole of my 4 feet has been cut off, amputated.
Oh.
So yeah, actually right now when I'm sitting down, you see, I still feel I've got a fit, but actually no, and it's actually pressing on the wound now. So I have to actually put it up to a certain
Mm.
extent. Yeah. Yeah. I think my sugar control is better. My diet also better after this, trying to take care a little bit. But even though initially, I mean, it has affected me in my inability.
Yeah.
I can no longer drive. I have to rely on wheelchair transport. But in my mind, it has not really stopped me from
Wow.
making the connections. Like I, the large corporations that support me, we do Zoom, we do talk, and we get the support very much, really a lot.
How do you remain strong in your mindset? After going through all of this and still
Mm.
operate. How do you keep your mindset strong?
I wish I could say there was some magic virit I do, or that I don't fall into depression, but the fact is I do lah. The fact is at times when I just feel overwhelmed, I feel I can no longer multitask, and you just find that the demands of the people or the family is just too much for me to handle. And at those times, maybe for a couple of hours, I I get into very low mode. Then I I scour FB. I go around FB looking for the groups and see all those things like from blessing groups and people saying I need help, I need this, I need that, and I for one feels like the best medication for my mind, my heart, my body is when I give something away lah. Um, and the last few weeks I've been having this supplier. He's a friend. Tell me please support him buying Pakistani mangoes. So the last 3 weeks I've been buying and giving to people, giving to my relatives.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a couple of days ago, somebody asked about forgiveness,
Mm.
and I replied, I do something uh, when I forgive, and it really makes me forgive. Like they ask me, what do? I give them mangoes, and not all the people I give mangoes upsetted me, of course, but there's one or two who I felt was who really pushed me to the limit, who really was very who treated me worse than any animal could be treated. And I just repaid that person back with sweetness. And
Mm.
I mean, he or she must have been shocked. But I would never do any harm to anyone. And even the thought of it really upsets me. So I said, yeah, lah, I give you the mangoes, the sweetness. I hope that will build back the silaturahim, but if it doesn't,
Mm.
so be it.
Mm.
And when I encourage others to do, it's difficult. Lah. Wow, I'm so angry at him. I don't talk to him and you expect me to buy mangoes for him or whatever sweetness or cakes, whatever. I say, yeah, that's it. Lah. I don't want to live my life being angry. I want to live my
Yeah.
life hating others. And I just believe that um, somewhere, somehow, there'll be enough risky to do what we do.
Yeah.
And truth be told, that there will always be. Lah. So I'm not really concerned. But yeah, I hope that I can continue to do what I need to do. Um, and a lot of it is probably got to do dua my parents, my family members, my friends, and those who we have touched their lives with. Even if it's just a matter of a few croissants once in a while, a few nasi bungkus here and there, but it brings joy, lah. It
Yeah.
brings joy. Um, and I hope that more will do the same. In fact, I see more now doing that. I see
Mm.
a few more groups that are coming up and doing this, and I tell myself, "Wow, this is great!" Then it's great because it helps me. It helps me to when those people are taken care of, then I can take care of others. Can yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Nice,
I
nice.
hope we can do more, inshallah.
Sure. Other than running your organization, right? What are the things that you have invested your time on?
Mm, right now, I've invested a lot of time in studying food security. Um, I mean, I just asked the question whether I asked a question during the COVID, lah, like
Mm.
what happens if we can no longer import any food?
Right.
And based on the resources that we have, how long can we feed all Singaporeans? And I could not get the answer. So I was investing in products, like I said, that were calorie rich, dense products that were very small in size but can act as meal replacements. And so I'm studying that and also
Mm.
working on finding ways to grow our own food. It's still in primary stages because I haven't had a good partner yet who is willing to go. Like I'm willing to invest in like
Yeah.
maybe an area where we can start mushroom farming,
Yeah.
where it's very good protein, and then I can use the my clients, the low income beneficiaries, say, hey, would you like a job? How about we work in this? And I insist to pay them reasonable salary. I don't want to
Yeah.
tekan them like the rest of them do. I'm very angry just because they're ex-prisoner or you can only work $3 an hour. That is terrible.
Yeah.
Give them their actual wages, then only can they survive.
Yes.
So I said, would you like to do a co-op maybe? And say like we give you a salary and maybe at the end of the year, 10% or 20% of the profits. So it gives them incentives.
Yes.
And it cannot be something so hard. Of course, the menial jobs have to be taken by younger generation. But things like packing, things like
Yeah.
stamping, I'm sure we can, and it gets involved. Um, that the concept bila orang dulu-dulu bila nak kahwin, diorang may gotong royong, everybody does
Mm.
this, that. It all comes in sync. It's just that how do you replicate that on a daily basis
Yeah.
where they still have enough time to be with their family. Let's say they work from either 8 to 3 or 9 to 4 so that they have enough time to go back home, spend time with the family,
Yep.
get enough wages. It's not meant to be rich. This work that we're going to do or the company that I want to set up, it is not meant for me to drive my Rolls Royce and everything, but it's meant to just be sustainable. Whereas the other models have been paying the top so much. Like for example, this pyramid, the actual cost of the worker is X, but the CEO makes on a monthly basis maybe 1000X. And I just don't understand why do we need millions of dollars in a year to spend,
Mm.
you know?
Yep.
You see, right now, if your gaji is 5,000, you nak 10,000. Bila nak 20,000, 20,000. After that, what else do you want? 20,000 is a lot. Tak boleh tinggal HDB ke? Must be landed ke? Then, 20,000 times 1 year, that's what, 240,000? So that's okay lah. Imagine if the rest of the top CEOs decided, look, I don't need more than $1 million.
Yeah.
Those earning 3-4 million, like what I heard, SQ 4.2 million. So I'm frustrated lah. I'm frustrated because there is more that can be done.
Yeah.
Singapore can be a much better place.
Yes.
But I don't want to be looked upon as somebody like a communist or socialist. No, that's not right. But what I feel is that there has to be some equality. There has to be some equality, and our generation, how many percent of us that lives in rental flats, and how many percent of us have babies at a very young age, where we are not ready to educate them, we're not ready to provide for them, and then when they turn for 13 to 14, they replicate the whole system again. And we always dah risky, dia nak risky apa buat. They are so used to this thing that they forget to take care of the child. I feel that the intervention should be education. The intervention should be making them understand. That's why we have to catch them before they're 12 years old.
Yeah.
There is a research by Professor Yu Yan which says that I think once they get into streaming age, by the time they're 9 years old or primary 3, they kind of realize that aku will never be champion now. I will never be smart now. I will never be this because I'm from the low income now. I'm expected to take on certain roles which have been catered for me.
Yeah.
Like when you see one mark with tattoo with a cap, they say, oh, Food Panda ke Gojek? Like is that mentality? We have to break that thing. We have to move away from those stigmas.
Yep. Yes.
I hope we can do something about it. Inshallah, a lot of Singaporeans come together and do things like even consider providing shelters, even consider opening up more homes so that people will not need to be homeless. Tak payah nak tidur kat McDonald's. Everybody can have a job. But it needs dialogue and it needs support from the government as well as the public. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I will be, to answer your question, sorry, about my activity, yes. I am doing up products where maybe I show this. For example, this size of a biscuit, macam gini size, I don't know boleh nampak tak dia size,
Yes.
So it fits in the palm of my hand. It's a biscuit. So kalau let's say you tak ada lunch, tak ada breakfast, all you need is to eat one biscuit je. 520 calories. And these are things which has a long shelf life, has 20 years shelf life.
Yeah.
Nak cakap sedap sangat, tak sedap sangat lah. But macam biskut kacang, So whenever the next pandemic comes and the food, you cannot go out to take the food, if people start sending to the house, you kat rumah, ada benda makan, that kind of thing. Tak mahal pun. So this is my project. My project out of FFA that I'm working on.
That you're also actually looking for a partner, right? For that?
I'm actually looking for, not investors, but I'm actually looking for people with technical know-how. Like, for example, if somebody does mushroom farming in Malaysia, I would like to ask him, can we replicate in Singapore? Right. If his answer is, it's because of the land cost, then my question is, can we do it in a factory range, in a factory region? If yes, we like to start small. It's not to feed the whole of Singapore, but to be able to, start something. And I'm studying also like how can we do it in industrial areas. Let's say you take a 4,000 square feet land area, maybe the rent is 2,800, 3,000. So based on that 4,000 square feet, can we do something vertical so that we can yield better? Because soil is a bit hard, it's a bit mahal.
Of all your answers, right? I can sense like a bit of frustration of from you, you know, of our community in terms of their mindset, how they like to judge, you know, and I'm sure that you know, for how you develop this is also because you're always meeting people and always on the ground. You are the person that always, you know, um and 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 is it true that you said that the only way of intervention is education, which
I
you
mean,
said
it's
just
one
now?
of the ways. It's definitely
Mm-hmm.
one of the ways. Um, the education part has to be in stages, lah. And the education has to be so across the board that it is something. How do I say, to be so? I'm not Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu. I'm not Indian. I'm Singaporean. That is the first element that they have to learn. And being Singaporean, what is expected of me? In order for me to be able to serve my country, I must be able to serve the residents. So I cannot serve the residents if I'm a taker. I need to be a contributor,
Yep.
right? If you work, you pay taxes or you provide services, only then can you take care of the weak. You can take care of the elderly, you can take care of the disabled. But if majority of us who are already in the low income bracket do not break that cycle and end up having children who are already going to the next cycle, the number grows. And if give an example, if a son sees, hey, my father never worked but still got some social service provision, he gets some food, he gets that, the perception is I can also do the same.
Yeah.
Right? If the dad drinks alcohol at home in the day, even though they claim to be Muslim or they are Muslims, not judging, but don't you think it's also acceptable for the child to drink?
Yeah.
Because we think, kenapa kau minum? But my dad does it.
Yeah.
So there are certain social norms that normally were not being normal. Now it is very normal.
Yeah.
Like, like I said, I love to see tattoos on people, but if my son comes back with a tattoo, I won't like it lah. But do I go around hating tattooed people? No, I don't. But it's just that there must be certain benefits that they do to bring themselves to be contributors, right?
Mm.
Like I give an idea. I was discussing. I said that most of the Sec 3 people now who are in normal stream, they get very disillusioned. They get very demoralized. That if they don't make it for O level, that the only way is ITE, and
Yeah.
if no ITE, become NITEC or something along those lines. I said, but why are we not catching them young? Why are we not saying you're 15 years old? There's a chance to have a career in the army, you know, police force, civil defense. You take in at 15 years old. It's called the Learn as You Earn scheme. It was during my generation,
Yes. Yes.
where they get a salary, maybe $400-500. They go for the training, but they also learn. So you get your O-level cert, you get your poly cert through the uniform groups, and you end up serving them. So the government pays a lesser amount in stages, but with discipline, you tend to be more regimented.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand. And when I talk to the teachers say, oh, we want to be able to give everyone a very basic education. I think that basic education stops at primary six lah. You know, there are people who from when they can excel, they can be doctors, and there are people who cannot excel and they find stumbling blocks. But it's wishful thinking. You know, they will say, hey, you know what, I'm going to work hard, and then I can go to poly, and then I can take. So it's like 16 years old. So 16 years old, 2 years NITEC, 1 year NITEC, and then poly. And by the time they masuk NS, dah 22, 23. And then keluar NS, nak pergi poly ke, nak pergi apa ke, he has lost so much. And these are things that I would like to table and ask what are the solutions. Because if you expect a 23-year-old boy to come out into the system and start finding job, they're too late for him.
Yep.
You know, in my opinion lah.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a lot of opinion, a lot of things, but nobody listens. Not that I expect people to listen to, but it's because I see and I wonder what
Yeah.
will, I see that a typical, macam kadang-kadang bila kita pergi berbual dengan orang, when I joke with them in English, some of them like blur tau. Like they can even look to their parents. Dia cakap apa? That kind of thing. And some of them, because of Western influence, they can understand the joke. And I tell them, hey, you look like you can speak very well. Would you like to learn how to speak to the public and everything? Malu lah, takut lah. But, with enough conviction and support, they could be our next public speaker. So when they become public speaking, they tend to be more confident. When they are more confident, they tend to excel in school. Don't you think that one thing leads to another? But if we, kau streaming, okay, kau kena lepak this corner, then kau this others.
Yeah, correct. Agree with you.
I feel like the three things I really want to do is I want to make sure that we are more food secure. We are more food secure in the sense that there are certain questions. If already in low income houses, why are they planting trees yang kita tak boleh makan? Why not we plant trees that can easily grow and people when hungry can makan? That's one question. Right? So when along those, pokok konon belong to NEA ke, belong to SFA ke, but seriously, how about one day you plant the whole of, let's say one whole stretch of Pasir Ris, and bila let's say buah mangga jatuh ke, get everybody to come. It's a fun-filled event, collect mango, 10% people take, the balance go and sold, or make into juice or give to charity. These are all things that can be done. So it has to start from stronger involvement from the government, and not to use things that worked 30, 40 years ago. It has to be very proactive.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just looking at all these pokok-pokok yang tak boleh makan. Kalau ada daun pandan, tak ada, ni semua things that cannot makan. Padahal ni semua orang susah ni.
Yeah.
Kalau pakcik tu lapar, at least dia boleh turun, ada buah ciku, dia ambil 2-3, dia potong, Alhamdulillah makan sikit. But why is no one listening? Why is nobody giving me answers? So hopefully I have been able to make enough relations so that the answers will come through.
Yeah.
And then we can understand. Probably they have a reason. Probably then, okay, itu macam answer dia. Food security is very important. Next, along with food security is the food waste.
Yeah.
Macam mana kita avoid food waste? Maybe kita makan less ke, maybe portion so cheaper ke, atau maybe certain things like to make it cheaper, essential items tak ada GST ke, like for example beras, gula, those essential items tak ada GST.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just curious to know how much revenue based on sale of rice alone. Everybody eats rice.
Yep.
Kalau it's 1 billion, then how much money is that GST really so important?
Yeah.
And then the other one is what we can do to minimize food waste. Like I said lah, smaller portions ke, apa ke, like maybe compactors ke, atau maybe we can have communal compacting machines. Not machines lah, macam compost. Then maybe the compost is used to plant on our trees.
Yeah.
There's so many ways which we can give back lah.
Yeah.
And the third thing is of course empowerment lah. I don't believe that, times are bad, we give you skills future, you go and study and good luck to you. You go and study something, it has to be very relevant. Okay? And then employment, I can't find it's a failure. The gap is failure. So I propose something else. I propose, let's say, and this has to come from the people's heart. Let's say famous goreng pisang in Bedok. Okay? So I approach the makcik, can you support us? No, I'm not asking for a donation. I'm asking you to help me teach 10 of my beneficiaries how to do your goreng pisang. Okay? How to do your goreng pisang so that they can replicate your goreng pisang, they can sell the goreng pisang, and then they can do home-based business.
Right.
Okay? So with your efforts to mengajar, dorang belajar satu skill, dorang boleh feed the family, dorang can support the family, everybody earns. Tukar orang makan goreng pisang pun earn because they dapat makan. Sama juga, let's say Adam Road nasi minyak or nasi lemak.
Yep.
And then, gini cara dia. So we make the community able to spread.
Yeah.
Will the makcik cannibalize her business? Maybe makcik will say, kalau aku dah ajar korang semua, siapa nak datang kat aku? But if he has confidence that rezeki come from Allah and not from her efforts, then she shouldn't worry, right?
Correct. That's very true.
That's very true. And let's say for the 10, kalau 8 atau 5 start jualan, dia punya pahala berapa kali ganda tu.
Correct.
Right? So it can replicate. So instead of telling them that, let's do home-based business. Let's find ways to make the policies tighten, make sure they have somebody to inspect the homes, somebody to make they have a certificate, so that this home-based tak become grey area lagi.
Yes.
Right? So they can go, let's say the chicken rice at Rex. This is how you do. Okay, I learned. My name is Sapia bin Adam. This is my certificate. I've learned how to masak from Rex chicken rice. And then, so you can sell.
Yes.
Tapi kalau kau tak ikut, kau tak sedap, tak ada nak beli lah. But still, ultimately, that concept can become so much food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But right now, what do we see? Everybody want to do durian. Everybody keluar sekarang burn cheesecake. Semalam first time I dengar, ya Allah, betul ke burn cheesecake? Sekali terasa, astaghfirullahaladzim. Siapa ni tekak ni makan ni burn cheesecake? Pahit though, because I ate the top part sekali. I said, okay, never mind. But it's all following momentum. Kita tengok kat Facebook pun nampak sedap. Macam TikTok lah, macam apa. Somebody crazy does it, then the rest will follow.
Yeah.
But I think what needs to have is like, okay, dia ni famous for epok-epok sayur. Macam mana kita nak belajar? And encourage dia.
Yeah.
You know? In fact, FFA, that was one of my plans. FFA were to do like kind of like let's say lah, I go to Home of Seafood. Cakap dia punya black pepper sedap lah. I said, would you mind teaching 10 of us or 5 of us?
Yeah.
Kita tunjuk macam mana. So it's a benefit. He won't cannibalize because people want to makan. People will go down there for that feeling.
Yep.
You buat masak rumah macam mana pun takkan sama because you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So these are things which we hope to encourage. That's what I call about the empowerment side.
Yeah. Wow, that is strong. I really like it.
There could be other ideas, you know, and only when community starts working together, it's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
We must throw away. Kalau aku ajar dia, habislah secret aku. Putu piring aku tak ada orang nak lagi. It's not right lah.
Yeah.
It's
the mindset lah.
Doing that.
Right. Yeah. That like you said, you know, I guess a lot of people don't really I think they don't acknowledge that rezeki comes from Allah. You know, it's all about competition, it's all about that. So that is where the unhealthy thinking that comes lah. Okay. I always ask this to all my guests. What makes a great leader?
What makes a great leader? Wow, I am not a leader, so I really won't know the answer to that. But if I were to see a leader, I would see someone who has the capability, the charisma to follow on with his ideas till the end. A leader who thinks of something and then have no capability to follow is not really a leader. He's just an idea, a designer. A leader is one who grabs onto one particular idea, have the motivation, have the spirit and the capability to get it done.
Right.
And then maybe invite others to see the beauty in it. And if people don't agree, it's okay. There'll be others who can. Because like I said, giving free food, some people like the idea, some people will not.
Correct.
But we have combined the two in the sense that we give free food, but we also teach them how to fish, man. So, you know, it's a mixture of both. If not, people ask me, teach them how to fish. Yelah, perut lapar, siapa nak fish? Semua tengah pingsan. You give him makan first, he happy, then teach him how to fish lah. Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Nice.
But my most disturbing thing is, my worry is not for the elderly, it's for the young generation. How are we going to stop or minimize especially the Malay Muslim community to be contributing members of society? How? I'm not saying they are not contributing now, but I'm saying to be able to better contribute in the sense that the issues that they have can be addressed at a very young and early age. Nutrition,
Yep.
The questions I want to ask is, let's say, for example, if the children don't get enough good nutrition, if will it affect their lives? Will it affect their capability to study? And I guess there has been studies on it. I'm
Yes, yes,
working on it,
yes. Yes.
and to make poor decisions. Like for
Right.
example, if you work on a daily basis, you only can buy one thing at a time. But if you work on a monthly basis, you can have the power to bulk purchase. You can buy the 3 for $10 chicken instead of 1 for $5 chicken because you
Correct.
have $10. And so these are things which we hope to encourage. And of course, I would just like to have a disclaimer. I'm not always right. Most of the time, I'm wrong. And I would like to seek forgiveness if whatever I've said has offended
Mm.
people.
Mm, mm.
Maybe they don't disagree. Please don't kacham me, shoot me arrows. I'm just a simple man who has walked the ground and wants to continue walking the ground.
Yes.
And my only interest is for the betterment of our society, betterment of our ummah, and betterment of our country.
MashaAllah.
I think we have a responsibility
Correct.
uh, to every day in our lives to be able to think, how can we make the lives of our family, our neighbors, and our country better. I think that's a daily responsibility that we all should have.
Yes, yes. Wow, wow, wow. MashaAllah. I really,
Inshallah.
really, I think that's, you know, a statement of someone who has reached all the way up, and see the world, and also all the way down as well. And your vision is just amazing. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Okay, we've
Inshallah.
come to the end of the podcast. I really thank you for your time, to share
Thank you so much,
whatever
Harold.
you yeah. And any last parting words that you would like to say?
Well, I hope that for those listening in, if they can consider, or if they feel like there are some points that I've spoken as can agree with them, do contact us.
Mm,
We need the support. We need people who are able to think, people who are able to bring this revolution to the
yeah,
next level.
right.
Yeah, and we welcome everyone. And I think that I used to have this saying, I must have heard it from somewhere, it's not mine. It's when good people come together, great things happen. And that is exactly what I've told in an interview earlier. Before COVID, I felt all alone. But
Mm,
now I feel like Captain America. I feel like suddenly the Avengers have come back. We've got the Hulk, and
yeah.
there are people supporting us. I mean, like big boys coming. I would never have supported. I could never have imagined them supporting us. But with this, we can traverse more. We can go further, and hopefully, with the government bodies also talking to us. Yeah, lah, a change is coming soon. Maybe a bigger change. Wallahu alam.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm waiting for good people to join us so that we can have great things to happen. Inshallah.
I mean, I pray for that too. Okay, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Nizar, for this.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
Hairul. I'm sorry if I take too long of your
No
time.
worries, no worries.
MashaAllah.
Assalamualaikum.